My cheating ex-wife stood at the front desk of my corporate office, threw a heavy yellow folder directly at my face, and whispered, "Enjoy working in the dirt forever, you poor pathetic loser." I was standing there in my mud-stained boots and cheap yellow hard hat, completely speechless. She had just served me divorce papers in front of 50 executive staff members, walking off arm in arm with her wealthy boss, leaving me with nothing but a mountain of debt. She took every single penny I had painstakingly saved in my bank account. I thought my life was over right then and there. I thought I was condemned to spend the rest of my days broken, humiliated, and penniless. I had no idea that humiliating afternoon would trigger a brutal courtroom decision, crumble a multi-million-dollar billionaire estate, and turn a disrespected construction worker into the most powerful landlord in the entire state. If you think a hardworking man can be trapped, humiliated, and destroyed forever by greedy people, wait until you hear what my divorce lawyer discovered 5 years down the road. Let us rewind a bit, so you can understand how I got trapped in this nightmare in the first place. My name is David. For over 10 painful years, I woke up every single morning at 4 o'clock, working brutal 12-hour shifts as a low-level construction worker. My hands were rough and calloused. My skin was weathered from the harsh winter winds and scorching summer sun. But I bore every ounce of pain with a smile because I believed I was building a future for my wife, Sarah. Sarah was a woman who craved luxury, expensive designer clothes, high-end cars, and pure social status. From the very day we got married, she treated my honest hard work with cold, bitter contempt. To her, I was not a loving husband. I was just a shameful embarrassment she had to constantly hide from her wealthy, snobbish friends. She never missed a single opportunity to remind me that I was nothing more than a dirt-poor builder who came home, smelling like cheap concrete, sweat, and cheap tobacco. I swallowed my pride every single day because I genuinely believed in marriage and loyalty. But while I was out there risking my life on high-rise scaffolding to pay for her shopping sprees, Sarah was spending her afternoons with Richard, the arrogant trust fund owner of a high-end commercial development firm. When I accidentally discovered their secret affair after finding hotel receipts in her coat pocket, Sarah did not even bother to deny it. Instead, she laughed right in my face, packed her expensive designer bags, and hired a ruthless attorney to strip me of our tiny starter home. She left me with nothing, walking straight into Richard's arms to live in his sprawling luxury mansion. When I sat alone in a tiny, dark rented room on a mattress on the floor, feeling completely broken and contemplating giving up on life, my older brother came to visit me. He was not just family. He was a seasoned divorce lawyer who specialized in high-level commercial fraud, asset protection, and estate litigation. "David," my brother said softly, sitting on a wooden chair across from me, "she thinks she stripped you of everything, but she forgot one critical detail. Who actually holds the real estate ownership of the massive commercial property Richard's firm operates on?" I frowned and told him I had no idea. I was just a laborer. I never paid attention to corporate ownership structure. My brother pulled up county land records and historic titles right then and there on his laptop. What we discovered shattered everything Sarah and Richard thought they knew about their so-called wealth. It turned out Richard was not the true, independent owner of that massive commercial development firm. His entire company operated on a historic, 100-acre piece of commercial land that belonged to a multi-million-dollar family trust, a billionaire estate originally established by my late grandfather 50 years ago. When my grandfather passed away unexpectedly decades ago, he left behind a complex, unverified will and inheritance draft. Because my immediate family had lost contact with the corporate legal executors during my childhood, Richard's greedy father had quietly usurped the property rights, falsely declaring the vast land abandoned and building their corporate empire right on top of our family heritage. My brother looked at me with a chilling, calm smile and said, "David, you do not need to fight her in the dirt. You just need to claim what is legally and rightfully yours." For the next 5 years, I worked harder than I ever had in my entire life. But I was no longer just laying bricks and pouring concrete. Under my brother's strict legal guidance, I spent every night studying property law, gathering historic land deeds, analyzing tax records, and launching a full forensic accounting investigation into Richard's firm. We kept our entire operation hidden in absolute secrecy. We let Sarah and Richard enjoy their stolen luxury, letting them believe I was still just a beaten down, miserable laborer living in poverty. During those 5 long years, the disrespect never stopped. Whenever I happened to cross paths with Sarah or Richard at local construction sites, they made sure to mock me. Sarah would lean out the window of her luxury sports car, tossing a $2 coffee cup at my feet, telling me to clean it up like a good little worker. Richard would laugh, telling his crew that I was the finest loser money could buy. I held my tongue. I kept my head down. I let them stack their pride higher and higher, knowing that the higher they climbed, the harder they would fall. Then came the ultimate turning point we had been waiting for. Richard's firm attempted to execute a massive corporate deal, selling the entire commercial plaza to an international investment group for $80 million. To finalize this massive sale and secure their payout, they required a clear title clearance from the state Supreme Court. That was the exact trap my brother and I had spent 5 agonizing years preparing. My brother immediately filed an emergency legal motion, bringing the hidden trust deeds, forensic audit reports, and original grandfather documents straight before the presiding judge. The day of the final court hearing arrived. The courtroom was packed with journalists, investors, and corporate attorneys. Sarah and Richard strutted into the building wearing tailored Italian suits, looking as arrogant and victorious as ever, fully assuming their high-priced corporate team would crush us in less than 5 minutes. Sarah glanced over at my simple, inexpensive suit with an insufferable, mocking smirk, whispering to Richard that I was probably there to beg for a severance check. My brother stood up before the judge and presented 50 years of forged land records, illegal bank transfers, and the original, legally binding will and inheritance document proving, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that my family was the sole, legitimate beneficiary of the entire commercial territory. Then came the hammer blow that froze the entire courtroom. My brother called a court-appointed handwriting expert and a senior land surveyor to the witness stand. They testified under oath that Richard's father had forged the land transfer documents 30 years ago, concealing the true lineage of the trust to steal the estate from my family. The judge's face turned bright red with pure fury as he reviewed the overwhelming evidence. He looked directly at Richard and his trembling legal team, slammed his gavel down with a deafening bang, and delivered his final statement. The final courtroom decision was swift, brutal, and completely devastating. First, the judge declared Richard's land clearance completely fraudulent and void. Second, the court stripped Richard's firm of all real estate ownership rights across the entire commercial plaza with immediate effect. Third, the judge ordered an immediate federal freeze on all of Richard's corporate and personal bank accounts pending a grand jury investigation into grand real estate fraud. Richard went pale as ice, collapsing back into his leather chair like a hollow shell. Sarah looked over at me in absolute horror, her face completely drained of color, her mouth hanging open in sheer, terrifying disbelief. The court transferred complete, total administrative authority of the commercial trust and the entire billionaire estate directly into a legal trust managed by me. Overnight, the very man they mocked as a dirt poor laborer became the sole master and landlord of the multi-million-dollar empire they had built on lies. 2 days later, Sarah showed up at my new top-floor executive suite. She was wearing simple, unbranded clothes, weeping hysterically, and throwing herself at my feet. She begged for my forgiveness, desperately claiming that Richard had manipulated her, used her, and forced her into taking my money years ago. She promised to be a loving, faithful wife if I just gave her a second chance. I did not raise my voice. I did not insult her. I did not give her the satisfaction of seeing me angry. I simply sat behind my oak desk, looked her dead in the eye, and slid a formal, court-issued eviction notice across the table, ordering her and Richard to vacate the luxury mansion within 48 hours. I took back my dignity, my family honor, my rightful legacy, and every single cent they had tried to steal from me. As Sarah walked out of the corporate building sobbing uncontrollably, clutching her eviction notice, my brother walked into my office and handed me a second sealed folder that had been locked deep inside the original trust safe for decades. It contained a hidden codicil that my grandfather had added right before his death, revealing that Richard's family was not the only party involved in trying to destroy our legacy, and that a second secret document was buried right beneath the foundation of the main building. If you want to know what terrifying secret was written in that final document, let me know in the comments below.